An ecosystem is a community of all kinds of plants and animals, both on land and in water, that work together and depend on one another to survive. But what happens if that balance is disturbed by a new, unknown threat? Invasive species are non-native creatures that cause harm to humans or the environment, in an ecosystem they do not belong in. Not all non-native creatures are invasive. Some examples of beneficial non-native plants and animals in the USA are apples, potatoes, and cows, which are brought over by other people as a food source and do not hurt the local wildlife. However, invasive species can cause a lot of harm to other plants and animals by consuming their food sources, reproducing at an unsustainable rate, and potentially spreading diseases that native wildlife have no protection against. They are most often brought by humans, sometimes unintentionally, or for reasons like decoration using plants or to get rid of a native pest. One example of an invasive species is the cane toad, an amphibian that was introduced to Florida by humans to control agricultural pests and sugarcane. Because cane toads are poisonous, most native animals cannot eat them, meaning that there are few predators that can limit their growth. Cane toads also compete with native toads and frogs, taking their food and breeding grounds, making it harder for the native species to survive while allowing cane toads to grow in number. Invasive species may also be plants as well. The Japanese honeysuckle was first introduced to the USA in New York as decoration. What makes these plants harmful is that they can climb over trees and other plants, blocking their sunlight and sometimes crushing them with their weight. They can also wrap themselves around other plants to cut off their nutrients and starve them. In their home environment, invasive species have many predators and other creatures that compete with it in a balanced ecosystem, where it isn't allowed to completely take over. However, in a non-native ecosystem without those limitations, there is little to prevent their destruction. The fragile balance between all these different species, from the largest plants to the smallest animals, is disrupted until the invasive species destroys it all. However, there are groups all around the world that work to control these invasive species and prevent them from causing any more damage to the local environment. Efforts by these groups have allowed native species to continue on even with the new threat. But the easiest way to manage invasive species is prevention, to not allow them to invade other ecosystems in the first place. People have come up with rules and restrictions to make sure that non-native species do not invade other ecosystems, but it is important to remember not to release pets or other non-native creatures and plants into the wild, or they might grow out of control. Our ecosystems are wonderful and complex systems that make up our entire world and fill it with life. If we want to conserve our local environments and all the organisms that make it special, we must make sure to keep them free of outside threats so that they continue to live in a balanced ecosystem.